go turn off my other phone. Well,
Okay.
you do that.
Yeah, I just had to start the recording.
Oh, my husband's university soliciting a donation. Let us know when you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I thought we were waiting for you.
Okay, I know, I just,
Okay.
sorry. Southbrook Conservation Area intern. I did send out an email to our intern, but I did it very late in the game and I have not heard back from her. So to be continued.
Okay.
Lake lowering memorandum of understanding. Whoops. Uh-oh. I just lost Zoom.
We can hear you.
You can hear me okay. It
Yeah.
says it's launching.
Oh, no, we can hear you.
That's weird. Post attendee. I don't quite know what's going on.
Just disregard that posted attendee thing.
Okay, well, what I'm seeing is the big word Zoom right now.
No, you can't see us.
No, weird. I don't know what happened.
So do you have your, is there a Zoom icon on your doc?
Yep, I'll try it again. There it goes. That's weird. I don't know quite what that was. Okay, sorry. Lake lowering MOU.
Yeah.
So did people have a chance to look at that?
Yes, and I had a question.
Yep.
Referring back to the minutes, when we had talked about this, we had said, okay, we're going to change the date because of the going from 3 inches to 2 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not reflected in this one. Has that not been changed yet? This one still, the one I got today from Linda still says November 1. So I just wondered the status of that, because we were proposing it go to October
25th?
25.
Right.
And the thing I got today said begin on November 1 and completed by December 1.
Right, it says, if the weather conditions are such, the lake is expected to either freeze in early November, or if higher rainfall is predicted in November, the dam keeper will consult. If all 3 parties agree, the lowering may begin before November 1.
Right.
It doesn't say October 25th, but it does say it can begin before November 1st.
Right.
So,
Okay, I just wanted that clarified.
well, I'm just saying I'm just reading that is what it
Right,
said.
yeah, I've got it in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to suggest that we wait to hear back from our dam keeper before moving forward with this. So my understanding is that Mark Rivers is sending it to our dam keeper, or
Well, Howard was included in the emails from the, so
from the
I
beginning.
guess I could check back and see, but we hadn't heard anything since the last meeting.
Right. Well, since this doesn't really go into motion until October, I'd like to make sure he is comfortable with the language as presented. And I actually would like to put back in the phrase that was excluded, which I discussed with Mark Rivers. I went back and forth in email with him a little bit about putting in the phrase about why we would allow it to happen sooner, which is what Robin was alluding to, accommodating the change in inches per day. So I'm happy. Let me follow up with Mark Rivers on that. I've been in touch with him about a couple of other things. So I will go back and forth with him on this one more time. And I'll also confirm that Howard Kinder is in agreement.
Sure.
Okay, I'm writing myself a note. Okay. Okay, let's move on to Shutesbury Highway Department annual project list.
Yeah. There's no news. I contacted Tim Hunting, the highway superintendent, again, and asked, well, we communicated by phone messages, and so I just let him requested the list again.
Has he acknowledged that you've requested it?
No, he acknowledged my first request, I had two requests, and he acknowledged one, but he didn't
acknowledge that.
He acknowledged one by that. We'll come to that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, I've asked twice.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
Status of certificate of vote, SJC update.
Yeah.
That's you.
So that's me. So I wanted to let you know that as of the last meeting, I let you know that there was a possibility that the $105 recording fee might be waived. And that in fact happened. The registrar of at the Registry of Deeds, Scott Cody, came up with a system let me back up and say that he was concerned that the certificate of vote would be recorded on one book and page, and then any subsequent recordable Wetland Protection Act documents that you might issue during the state of emergency using electronic signatures would be recorded on a separate book and page, but have to reference the other book and page. So, and if you're not familiar with the Registry of Deeds, I understand this might be murky, but what he came up with is that each time you might issue a document, say the certificates of compliance for 12 Merrill Drive, that the certificate of vote will be referenced in the document and then included as an attachment to the document. So it's all, so for the deed for that property, everything that's needed is recorded in one place. So it keeps a cleaner line for the whoever might be looking at that deed in the future. So that's was good news. It was saved money, and now we have a clear purpose. And I really appreciated his communication and working through this, because as part of the the statewide MSMCP meetings, other registries are, well, it seems like each registry has different ways of handling, and this one is unique, and it seems to be pretty well, straightforward. So that's that report. And the SGC, the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts, they have a separate state of emergency from the governors, and they extended theirs, which was to expire on June. They extended theirs by a month, I believe, but that only affects court proceedings. So if the commission had an appeal under the bylaw, that would be where that would take effect. So that's really all I have now from the MSMCP and other legislative news. Just that other commissions are finding some, commissions are doing different levels of things. The larger municipalities are, who have agents, are doing a little more complex project approval than the smaller ones. So there it is.
Thank you. So before we move on to, well, I guess we can do them in this order. I was just going to say, why don't we do 12 Merrill Drive before 32 Lake Drive, just because we just talked about the certificate of vote, and that may come into play if we approve the certificate of compliance for 12 Merrill Drive. Is that okay with you, Linda?
That's fine, yeah. Yeah.
And Robin, since you so kindly did the site visit forms, can you just summarize the 12 Merrill Drive site visit? Sorry. My husband's getting home and
That
the
was a
dog
good
is
summary.
excited.
No, we got there and the previous owner, what do I have here? Okay, the previous owner was there and one of the current owners, and we got to see the new house. And this house is a replacement for the one that burned down and was installed on, as I've written here, what was really nice about this is the previous owner was there and he could describe in detail what they did, what they replaced, what they didn't. And so having to replace the house, they were trying to do it with minimal excavations. So they used the sonotubes. They didn't touch the well or the septic system, anything like that. We didn't observe any significant excavation for this project. It was pretty impressive. And the second certificate we were looking at was some muck removal that they did when the water was lowered. And to us, the shoreline seemed stable. There were a lot of plantings along the edge. It didn't completely cover the edge, but the new owner said she's really impressed with that and she wanted to continue it to cover the entire edge of the lake. And the other thing we noticed is some trees had been taken down. According to the previous owner, they were damaged in that same fire. And so whatever the rules were at that time, they were cut so the stumps were like 3 or 4 feet off the ground. They were that high. And Penny pointed out, oh, you could actually take them down to the ground if they were bothering you. But the owner was like, they kind of make like nice little tables. She was kind of using them that way out there. But Penny just made sure she knew that that was allowable. And that's why we recommended that we issue the certificate of compliance, because it looked like in both cases, things were okay. Penny and Liam, anything to add?
I think that was a great summary. Nothing to add.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is that Mr. Hartwell did say that when he engaged in the muck removal in 2008, this was just really an aside, that with the silting in of the cove, it's all silted in again. So whatever was removed back in 2008 has returned along with the silt.
Right.
So.
Right.
So I would recommend that we issue the certificates of compliance, and I guess I will make that motion and we can vote on that. So Penny Jake's moving that we issue both certificates of compliance.
Robin Harrington seconds that.
Can you be more specific in that, like say 1996 and 2008, something like that?
Yes, Penny Jakes again. I move that, well, let's do them one at a time just for clarity. I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for the 1996 house replacement for the 12 Merrill Drive property. Can someone second that?
I second that. Robin Harrington.
Thank you. All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
Robin
Missoula,
Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
And Russ, can you aye one more time, please?
Russ Missoula, aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move forward on that.
Okay.
And then I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for the 2008 lake drawdown muck removal project. May I have a second for that?
Liam Cregan, second.
All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
Missoula,
Robin
aye.
Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
And I think I heard Russ there get,
Yeah, Russ Missoula, aye.
okay, Penny Jake's aye. And I did recommend to Linda that in case we ever have a situation like this where we can't access old records from 1996, that we make a point of keeping files that still have outstanding paperwork in a place where we can get to them.
Makes
I
sense.
would have felt much better about this if we could have accessed the notices and the orders for everything. So I agreed to work with Linda on some sort of organization system at some point in the unknown future. Okay, so let's discuss 32 Lake Drive now.
Wait.
Wait.
Okay, so you each, I sent around an email
Yeah.
this afternoon with the certificates of compliance in them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could just, we're wanting to just make sure that you are issuing a complete certification on each one, right? I filled them all out except for the certification. Not-
Okay, yes, I guess we will do that mostly because, you know, we don't have the information from 1996, so we're just assuming everything's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the site looks fine, but yes.
Okay.
And my understanding is that as chair, that I'm the signator on these.
So you all voted the certificate of vote.
Mm-hmm.
It says that it authorizes the execution of the documents with electronic signatures. So if you look, I don't know if you can pull up the certificate, one of the certificates of compliance, but on the last page, or actually page 3, it says authorization, and I've typed in there that says, please see the attached certificate of vote authorizing the execution of documents with electronic signatures as voted by the Shutesbury Conservation Commission 5/14/2020 and certified by the Shutesbury Town Clerk 5/20/2020.
Oh, thank you. I read that as just part of the original form. I
Well,
didn't.
that's the, you may remember at the last meeting,
Right.
I explained that the DEP altered the forms so that this kind of information could be typed in, because before there wasn't a space for it. So in this case, I would just type in your names if I understand the procedure correctly.
But how does this work if we're all remote? We each type in our name and then what?
No, I type them in.
Oh, you type them in.
If-
I see.
Because if you
I see.
authorize me
Right,
to
right.
do so, then I type them in for you.
Got you. I authorize you to type in our names.
They authorize you.
You want to have a vote?
Authorize for Linda to type in my name.
Okay, so
So I make a motion that Linda type in our names for both certificates of compliance.
yeah, okay, so I will input the electronic signatures. How about that?
Okay. Do we need to second and vote it, or is that sufficient?
Let's vote it, please.
May I have a second, please?
I second. Robin Harrington.
All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
I, Russ Missoula.
I, Robin Harrington.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll get that done. And then I'll send them electronically to all the parties, so they can go ahead and, do what they need to do. And if there's any subsequent issues with it, then I'll let you know. But this, as far as I understand, this is what we do.
Okay, thank you for keeping us on track. So we have 4 minutes until we need to discuss the 7:30 ANRAD project. So I'm going to suggest we skip over 32 Lake Drive for the moment, because I think that may take more than 3 minutes. And Linda, can you quickly give us an update on the fire department? So, or should I give an update on that?
Yeah, what I'll just say that I contacted Tim Hunting about this, and
And he did
go-
respond. And I drove by, I think it was yesterday, and the highway department crew was pulling out the silt fence. And when I went by either later yesterday or perhaps it was today, they have put straw down there, which leads me to believe that they've seeded the sort of raw soil that was all along the road there. So hopefully the rain will help that along, and it will germinate and stabilize it pretty quickly. So one thing to check off the list.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we can do in a minute?
Sure, I can just tell you that I had hoped to check with Becky about for COG and the open space plan, and I don't have a report on that.
Okay, so.
And we can tell you that Robin, Liam, and I are going to have a Zoom session regarding the wetland protection bylaw review on Tuesday, the 16th.
Hooray, I'm happy to hear that.
Yep.
Okay, so we have 2 minutes remaining, and Linda, maybe we can preface our 7:30 continuation discussion by you sharing with us what you know with regard to when things are going to open up again, and potentially we can have an in-person public meeting.
Well, so
And I can summarize what you said to me, which was it's not going to be in time for the 25th of June.
correct. Okay, so there are no, right now, town hall remains closed to the public. And that town hall remains closed to the public. And the state of emergency remains in effect. The size of groups that may meet together are limited. So at this point, town hall is closed to the public. So, and there are no specific plans for reopening. And even when it does reopen, it may be by appointment only for people coming in to do particular actions with staff in town hall. So when there'll be an opportunity to hold a meeting inside town hall, we have no dates for that.
But the bottom line is it won't be in time to hold a public hearing on June 25th.
Absolutely.
And
correct.
so
Yeah.
my recommendation as, well, it's 7:30, so let's discuss the continuation of the public hearing for ANRAD at ZD-37, which is the Montague / Carver Road project. And I am going to propose that we move both of these into our first and second July meetings, just so on June 25th, we don't have to have the same conversation again, since it seems like there's no way we will be holding a public meeting then. So I don't have a, let's see, do I have a calendar that I can pop up quickly?
It's
It would-
looking like, is it
Ninth.
July 9th? and
July
24th?
9th, right. Thanks, Liam. So I know we had all gotten a message from Maria asking to consider moving, how would I say it, regrouping the four ANRADs as they're at different stages of being complete. But my sense, and correct me if I didn't read this correctly, they should all be done for a July 9th meeting, right? Is that everyone's sense? And I will say I did ask Emily Stockman that she get us her final report to the commission at least a week before a meeting, so we all have plenty of time to look at it and assimilate all the information in there. So it would be July 2nd, I guess, that she would have to have the final reports done.
So did I hear you correctly? You were saying all four of them on July 9?
No. I'm just thinking from looking. So Maria sent a fairly complicated, or not complicated, but a
Right, I
message.
saw that. She wanted to sort of
She wanted
mix them
to,
up.
yeah, mix them up in a different way because they were at different stages of completion. But my
Right.
sense was, if we're not considering June 25th, but instead July 9th, then everything should be done by then. I guess we can confirm that with
Okay.
her. But,
And Maria's suggesting the Baker site and the Pratt East site at the July 9th meeting, if that's when we choose to continue to.
right. So
Because those, I think, yeah, I'm just rereading the email now, and those two reports are just waiting on final comments from Emily, so they'll be completed the soonest. And they're the most likely to get to us with that 7-day period in mind.
okay, so it sounds like she was thinking that nothing's going to happen on June 25th. Is that right from what you're reading, Liam?
She did mention, oh no, well, I think it looks like she prefers, well, she's asking us to continue Baker and Montague to 625 and continue Pratt East and Pratt West to 7-9. But then she also mentioned the possibility of Pratt East and Baker going together for the next meeting that we continue to, just because those reports will be done sooner than the other two.
So how does everyone else feel about reshuffling the order in which we were doing these in? And I think just to go back to our original decision was, in my mind, we put the two Pratt Corner ones together because there may be people on Pratt Corner that would like to participate in one meeting rather than two meetings. And maybe Liam, you can answer this. How far apart are those two sites? Is it 100?
They are not 100 feet apart.
Are they a couple of miles apart?
I would say you wouldn't really want to walk that distance
Mm-hmm.
between the access points. I don't know if it's more than a mile.
Okay.
But the folks who are interested, if they're folks who are interested just because they live right next to the site, they might only be interested in one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of folks in Shutesbury in general are going to be interested in these
Okay.
ANRADs as well.
Okay. So what's your sense, Liam? Do you think keeping the two Pratt Corner ones on the same night is a good thing, or that it's not that important?
I think it would be a good thing because I mean they still are logically close together,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a chance that some folks who live right in the middle are interested in these specifically. So I think ideally keeping them together would be good.
Okay.
And I agree with your point, Penny, that, you know, now we're adding on another couple of weeks. So the chance that things are going to be done and ready is increased.
Okay, well, in light of that, what I'm going to propose is that we continue the Carver Road Montague/Carver Road project to July 9th at 7:30. Just,
Do we need a second for that?
yes, please.
Liam Cregan seconds that motion.
All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
Robin
Aye.
Harrington, aye.
Russ Missoula, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye. And Linda, what did you find out about doing these two back to back rather than waiting to 8 o'clock for the Baker?
I have to admit that I
Ran out of time.
ran out of time. So, but if there are no interested parties present, I believe that given the Chapter 53, Section 17, the public hearings could be continued just by the chair. So you don't have to wait till 8 if you're done before. I don't believe.
Okay, well, I'm just looking at, I mean, the other thing is we still have a couple of things to talk about. So why don't we go ahead and talk about our other topics and then revisit the Baker Road, West Pelham Road continuation closer to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you want to do next?
Let's do, you had MACC webinars.
Yeah, so hang on for a second. I just had wanted to basically remind everybody about the webinars, and that if you want to go and there's a fee, just let me know so I can take care of that for you. I can actually register you online right away, because working remotely, I have access, to be able to take care of the registration fees. So if you see something that you're interested in, and MACC is really starting to offer quite a few webinars and the different units for commissioners. And then the other MACC resource that I was thinking about is the e-handbook, an annual subscription to the electronic version of the handbook, which is really nifty because it's easily searchable, is $15. And I think I would, I think I'd like to have one. The first year the commission received one free, and I used it and it was fun. And of course I had my big paper notebook version in the office, but I don't have it at home. And there's been a few times I wanted to look something up and I couldn't. So I was thinking that might be a worthwhile investment if anyone is interested in having one.
And it's $15 per commissioner, not $15 for access for everyone on the
Correct.
committee.
It's $15 per person for a subscription for the year. Yeah.
Well, historically, when a new member has joined the commission, we bought one of the big notebooks, which was substantially more than $15, but it was a one-time investment. Anyway, I fully support everyone having access, everyone who wants to having access to this.
I would love to have access.
Likewise.
I would like to get one too.
Okay,
You too, Penny?
I suppose,
Okay. May I have one?
of course. You may have two.
Okay, so I will, in the next little bit, it may not be till early next week, but I'll put the order in, and that will be a great way, to use. Now, the question is, which expense would you like to use? You can use your.
Can we use it on our expense line since we were going to lose that in a short amount of time?
Sure, yeah, I just want to be sure that's what you would want. Okay. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, and another plug for MACC is that through all of these weeks of the MSMCP meetings, MACC is always there and offering input, asking really good questions of the land use attorneys who are present and of DEP. So yeah, it's a really great organization.
And I'll just say one more time, if you see a webinar and you have the time to do it, I encourage you to do it, especially the fundamental topics. You learn so much about what you need to know to be able to be a knowledgeable commissioner. So if you're able to, take advantage of them.
And it's really nice now that they're online, so you don't have to drive somewhere.
Drive halfway across the state, exactly.
Yeah.
That is nice.
So any of you who are interested can just get in touch with Linda directly at any time.
Yep. Yeah, yes, and we'll get you signed up.
Okay. Liam, can you give us any information on the Fort River watershed study? Has anything happened with that yet?
So there was a doodle, which was a little vote just to see when folks were available to join on a call to discuss the plan. I read the executive summary of the plan, and from what I understand, Shutesbury is not contributing pathogens. Generally, it seems like they identified a point source pollution area along next to a horse farm. So there's this tributary that feeds into Hot Brook, which is a brook in Amherst Belchertown area. And that's kind of where they've identified a potential point source loading of pathogens into the Fort River watershed. But I'm mostly just interested in listening in to hear what the goals of the plan are, because I swim in the Fort River sometimes. I've spent a lot of time near it, and I'm mostly just curious. So that's kind of where I'm at, waiting to hear back about when that call will be, and then hopefully I'll have a bit more information.
Okay, well, keep us updated. And let's see. So Linda mentioned that there's going to be a little work session on the bylaw. That's great. And then we have status of ANRAD applications.
Yeah, that was, I think you've already covered that so, just to be sure that there was space to talk about Maria's email with the update on the various ANRAD applications and where they were at. And it seems like, so that's why I put that in there.
I have one quick thing to add to that, and that is that I don't know if you all remember when we first got the 4 ANRADs back in January. I think several of us noticed that the form, I'm going to call up the form here so I speak accurately. Hang on for just a second, please. Almost there. So in page 1, the first page is just a lot of basic information about the location of whatever the resource area is that's being delineated. But then there's a section for the applicant and a section for the property owner and a third section for the representative. And the applicant is listed as Cole's, and the address is listed as Cole's address, but the phone number and the email are that of the solar developer, Aries Power System. And I talked with Mark Stinson about this today, and he suggested that we ask TRC, who is the representative, to redo that page. So the applicant is the solar developer, and all that information is there. And below that, for section 3, the property owner is listed as Cole's, and all of Cole's information is listed there. And I would like the commission to okay me asking to get that just sort of tidied up.
That sounds
that-
good to me.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Russ?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
It really is just housekeeping. You know, Cole's is not, well, anyway. Okay, well, I will, so perhaps Linda, when you pass on to Maria what the new continued times and dates are for these 2 projects that are before us tonight, you could pass that on to her, that we would like the first page on all 4 ANRADs to be basically corrected to reflect.
No, that is page 1 of the note of the ANRAD app, right?
Right, it's page 1 of the ANRAD. So there are, well, let me just scroll down. There are 5 points listed on the first page, under general information.
Yeah.
The first is the project location, which is accurate. The second is applicant information, which is half Cole's and half Aries Power.
Yeah.
And then the property owner section is just left blank on the forms.
Okay, got it.
And then for number 4, the representative, that information is correct. And I believe the fees, number 5, the fees are fine.
Okay, yeah.
So would you be willing to pass that on?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Okay. So why don't we talk about 12 Merrill Drive, nope, 32 Lake Drive, the request to hold a public hearing on the tear down and rebuild of a house. And Linda, not Linda, Robin, why don't you start by giving us a recap on the site visit?
Okay, hold on, let me get everything out here.
Thank you.
All right. I was kind of impressed by how much they were going to do there.
I was also amazed that they're like, the whole project is 5 feet from either property line. Everything is really squeezed in, isn't it?
I know, it's like
Just as an
a
aside.
lake on one side, the road on the other, the 2 other houses. Unbelievable.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, most of those house lots are 40 feet wide.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got there. The property owners was very helpful. Answered all our questions, took us around. Some things that stood out. Well, basically what they want to do is remove the current house, then take down this tree, and then rebuild the house, but they're also putting in a well and a septic system. So it's a major project.
And they're putting in a full foundation, whereas it's just on.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure what it's resting on at this point.
Right. So several things that had come up. Well, basically, we were trying to decide, can a public hearing be done via Zoom? And a lot of the issues that came up was the proposed well is like within 10 feet of the lake. So we were asking him, push it back as far as you can, and then also remove the silt fence back a little bit along with that. And and he did talk about wanting to remove the large tree, and again, putting in a full foundation. And a big thing is they're altering the grade, because between the house and the road, they want to add something like 5 feet to accommodate the septic system. And then they're going to put in a retaining wall to prevent all that stuff from just washing off into the neighbor's property. So there's a lot going on. And we did, on the map that we had when we arrived, it had the contours that he wants to have following this renovation and the landscaping. And we just requested documentation of the original contours, which we did get. So got that pretty quickly. Penny and Liam, what do you want to add?
We discussed the silt fencing in the plan. There was 2 silt fences, one in front of the well and one behind the well, closer to the house. And I think Penny had mentioned that only 1 silt fence was necessary.
Right, because their list of things talked about, having that original silt fence in and then kept moving it up. She's like, just leave it. So
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, we did talk through some things. I guess the bottom line is, do we feel, based on visiting the site and the scope of the project, and I mean, the other thing that we can't really predict is how much local interest there is in a project like this. Linda, is this the project where, when we had one of our earlier Zoom meetings, a couple people were interested in what was going on here?
Yep.
Or was that a different site?
No, you're right. This is the site that there were a couple of people who came as a result of the board, having received a notice about a Board of Health public hearing on their proposed septic system.
Right, okay. So it is a pretty dramatic change, and I don't know, what do you guys think?
Are there similar projects, Penny, that you could just speak to the public? I know every project is different, but maybe if you could just talk about some projects that were similar and how they were handled in person, maybe we could get a better sense of how.
Well, I think it's been quite variable. Some have had, and Linda, you can jump in here too, because you've been part of a number of these over the years. I would say some of them nobody comes to or nobody expresses interest in. Sometimes people have come for a public hearing that is of a fairly big scope. A bunch of people have come for the first hearing, and then it's been continued to another meeting, and sometimes even another meeting after that. And oftentimes, once people got basic information, their interest diminished. I guess they felt like they understood better what was going on. And a couple of times, and it's often situations where there's some ongoing issues between neighbors, there has been ongoing interest. Now this guy just bought the property and he's new, so I can't imagine that would factor into this situation. So Linda, does that sound like a reasonable reflection?
It does.
Add to that?
It does, and I would just like to add that sometimes a project that may be more, that may involve more work on the part of the commission has no abutter interest.
Right.
I can think of one relative to a retaining wall that I don't think Russ, I think, was on the commission then, but that there was no abutter interest in that one, but that one took a lot of work on the commission's part.
And DEP's part as well?
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the bottom line is it's sometimes hard to predict. And the other thing that I will comment on is sometimes the issues that abutters have with the project aren't specifically the issues that we have anything to do with. And I'm going to give you an example just so you understand what I'm saying. Sometimes when people do a rebuild, they build a taller house, and the people behind them are unhappy about that and participate in our public meeting, but that's regulated by a different board in town.
Mhm.
That would be the zoning board of appeals.
Right. And so, you know, we haven't seen what his plan is for that, but that would be easy enough, I think, to scoot out from under, because we don't have to react to that particular conversation.
Mhm.
And it's important, I would just offer that it's important to remember, and this I've learned from listening to other commissions, is that you can take your time, you know, because just knowing that a Zoom public hearing may take longer than if you were sitting around at the table, you know, looking at the plans online. The owners, the property owners will be present. There may be some abutters present, but we can figure out how to manage that. I can watch the participants on my screen and, you know, let you know if someone's raising their hand. You can ask that they raise their hand if they want to make a comment or ask a question. So, you know, all of that can be, you can, just like in a regular public hearing, you know, Penny would be chairing. You would be listening to the presentation from the applicants and their representative if he's there. You all, as the commission, would ask your questions and, you know, have, you know, that's the procedure, that you would ask all your questions, and then open it up to questions from anyone who's present that might have questions. I hope that's helpful, just in terms of how it would,
Right.
you would
So
make.
is it possible to ask the applicant to provide large scale site plans to each of us?
You mean paper?
Yeah, you know, I'm a very visual person, and I'm finding, looking at these little 8.5 by 11 site plans, there's a lot of information on there. And I have always found it helpful to unfold a big piece of paper on a table and have a chance to look at it. I don't know if other people feel the need for that.
I think it's important if we could get our hands on something like that, because this one here that I got off the email, it's a small one. I know I haven't been at the site, but I can see 1, 2, 3 abandoned wells, and where they're going to put the new well right next to the water. It doesn't even look like it's 94 feet away from the septic, the tank.
But
That'd be my concern. Without being there, it's hard for me to say, and I'm sorry I missed the site visit. I kind of wish I went, because I'm looking at, if everybody's got the same paper in front of them that I have, I'm looking, I can see where the proposed well is going to be. It's right down next to the water. I can see the other abandoned wells.
you can't,
Yeah.
you have to just be wary of discussing too much about the project outside the context of the public hearing.
I'm fine. I agree with Penny, if we can get our hands on a big print.
I'll ask them to mail them to town hall. I think that's the best, yeah. And then we'll have to, you know, arrange for them to get to you somehow.
Right. And I do know Mark Stinson, I believe, also asked that the 100-foot
Yes, the comment letter.
line, right, be added, and I don't see that on there.
Right, so there are some things outstanding
Right.
there. I think there's a need, there was some photographs and whether there's an actual dock there that needs a Chapter 91 license. I can't remember all the
Right.
issues, but there are still those things outstanding. So
Right.
it has to be.
So I guess what I would request is a final plan, large-scale final plan that includes all of the things that have been requested prior to having a meeting. So do people feel like we can do this on Zoom?
We had a plan in front of us, we could.
I think we could handle it, especially considering, I know this is a different type of hearing, but that ANRAD hearing where there were a lot of folks, and I think we were able to answer questions and make people feel informed of what was going on, even though we weren't really supposed to be discussing the project because we were continuing the ANRADs.
Robin?
Yeah, yes, I think we could make it work.
Okay, so
I
then
feel the same way.
the question becomes, when do we want to do this? I'm not sure I have the, well, I'm not sure I have the courage to do 2 ANRAD meetings and this in the same night.
I would agree,
understand
that's a
that.
bit much.
You have, I mean, you have June 25th,
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks. If
Oh,
If they could get all the notices done and get all the paperwork
Yeah.
together.
I'm just thinking about that. Excuse me, I'm just looking at my calendar. Well, there's time to get their legal notice in. That's that. If I, check in with them tomorrow, they can get their legal notice in. They would need to mail the abutter notices out as soon as possible so that the abutters have, time.
Mm-hmm.
And if everything isn't in, you would continue.
Yep. And may we continue into August? Or do we have to continue to our next meeting? How does that work? I can't remember.
I think you have to continue. You have to give them, so much is up in the air right now, Penny.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't know whether or not you'll even be able to do an ANRAD on the 9th.
Right. Right.
At this point,
Right.
I just thinking about not knowing how many people can come and how many people can reasonably be accommodated with physical distancing in the large room downstairs. We're not close to that yet.
Yep. Okay.
So I don't know what to tell you regarding that. I think, in another couple of weeks, so we'll know some more. But even then, as I said, town hall may be open only to people by appointment. I don't know,
Right.
I don't know what, to tell you.
Well, how does the commission feel about advising Mr. What is it?
Ecologic.
Ecologic, to try and get a notice in time for our June 25th meeting, with a request that we have large scale, a final plan with all the information we need to the commission prior to the meeting.
Seems reasonable to me.
I agree.
I agreed also.
Okay, so I will get in touch with them tomorrow about their legal notice and their abutter notice and about the request for the plans to be mailed to town hall. And then, you know, and then we'll, you know, figure out how to get those to you. Liam, will you be back in the area?
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I guess that's, you know, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we should quickly scoot back to the continuation that was supposed to be at 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
And shall we continue the public hearing for ANRAD at ZQ-6, which is the Baker West Pelham Road project, to July 9th at 8 p.m.
Yes.
I make a motion that we do that. Can someone second it?
I second Robin Harrington.
All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
Hi, Russ Missoula.
I,
Liam.
Robin Harrington.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye. And so Linda, you will pass this information on to Maria,
Yes.
and along with the request that they repair the first pages in each of the 4 applications. Thank you. Okay. Are we done? I'm just skimming over. Was there anything else, Linda? I don't see anything else. Okay, I have one quick thing to add, just a little alert to people. There is a public hearing for the zoning bylaw changes that are going to come up at town meeting. And that, correct me if I'm wrong, Linda, is on June 22nd.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
And I think the thing that the open space design bylaw, the major change that reflects or that relates to us is that applicants who are doing open space design would need to file an ANRAD at the beginning of it. And the preamble to the bylaw was written to better reflect the importance of open space from an environmental point of view. Some of the other things are more housekeeping. But then they'll also be talking about proposed changes to the solar bylaw, which are substantial and interesting. And I would urge you all to read through the changes. And if you're interested, participate in the hearing so you're informed. Well, I guess, Liam, you can't vote at town meeting about it, but you'll find it interesting anyway. So just keep that in mind.
The
Any,
amendments are
Excuse-
on, there's links to the amendments on the planning board webpage.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Okay.
what's the
Anything?
day on that meeting gonna be?
The 22nd?
Yeah, at the public hearing,
And that's-
it's at 7:30 p.m. and it's a Zoom, by Zoom. And so you can look at the meeting I sent out there's a town announce with the information in it, and you can go on the town meeting calendar and get the Zoom login.
Okay.
Okay.
So are we done for the evening, Linda?
I think so. Everybody else?
I think so.
I
Okay,
guess-
well, I can't wait to hear the results of your bylaw meeting. So look forward to hearing about that when we have another one of these meetings. And I guess we will adjourn our meeting at 8:10 p.m.
Would you make a motion, please?
Somebody else make a motion, please.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting here at 8:10.
I'll
Penny
second it.
Okay, second.
Russ Missoula seconds it.
All in favor, please state your name and say aye.
Robin Harrington, aye.
Liam Cregan, aye.
Penny Jakes, aye.
Russ Missoula, aye.
Over and out.
Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Have a good night,
Bye.
everybody. Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Here.
Here.
See everybody later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's good to see everybody.
care.
Bye, Penny.